Here we go. So, hi, how's everybody doing? Wanted to take just a couple seconds to go over your syllabus. I know that there's been a couple of adjustments there, and I kind of felt the adjustments were needed to clarify and to honestly give you some more range. Before, it was kind of narrow on like what to do and some of your options, and I wanted to broaden that out and kind of delineate some of the assignments too, because it was different. So um anywho, I'm going to share my screen really quick, and we're going to talk about the class. Let's see here. Trying to get everything. There we go. I think there we go. All right. So some of the basics, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that hopefully you can see it. Counseling 634, marriage and family counseling. You got my contact information. If you ever need to talk, really, like, I know that we're supposed to say this, but sincerely, I love this class. I love systemic thought. If you ever need to talk, or if you're just curious about something, I have absolutely no problem jumping on Zoom, talking to you, explaining about it. I'm passionate about systems and really enjoy it. The university that I came from, instead of like clinical in school, we were clinical in marriage and family. So there was so much like interconnection between clinical and family therapy. So again, I really like it. You've got the required text. There are a number of sites and recommendations. The overview for genograms and genogram symbols, I went ahead and I loaded those links in your second week information on Modal. So they're here, but I wanted to verify those for you. Again, lots of recommendations. You need to know family and marriage and family therapist code of ethics, the AAMFT. They do have their own ethical code, and I would really encourage you to read it. We're always trying to adhere to the highest standards of ethics, and so doing marriage and family counseling, you need to know those. And here's the thing. This may be one of those classes where you go, just going to work with kids, like little kids. We're going to do some play therapy. Or you're like, no, severe, persistent, or maybe just adults. I just really want to talk to adults. I'm going to do CBT with adults. Here's my encouragement when it comes to this class. Kids have parents, primary caregivers. Adults have kids or have been a kid. And so much happens, and our childhood is so influential to our development. Really understanding this is key. And I'll stretch this out a little bit more. When you begin to think about who you are, the different components of you, you can begin to pull these things apart and see how they work with each other and how they relate to each other. So really kind of broaden your concepts of what systemic thought really is. All right, we're going to keep moving. Again, a lot more resources. Don't look too quickly. And a lot of this stuff, it's on all of your syllabi. The description, contemporary theories and practices of family and couples therapy, psychodynamics, experiential systems, structural communications, cognitive behavioral. And I'm probably going to toss some more information in there because there is some of the historic understandings, but you have to remember that marriage and family therapy, it's still kind of the newest kid on the block when it comes to psychology. I mean, we're going back to like the 50s with the Macy conferences and how different interdisciplinary studies began to merge together. So we'll start there. I'll talk to you a little bit more about the history, but I also want to pull you forward. I'm really passionate about where we're going, and what you should really anticipate in the years to come in systemic work. So, all right, you've got your learning objectives. I think what you really want to know is more about the assignments. And this is where I did some tweaking, and I've been given some leeway on this course. I think that I'm kind of settled in for this round. We'll see. So I do, and this is the case with every class. If something doesn't read right or gets a little sideways and I need to adjust it, I'm going to adjust it to a way that makes the most sense and is helpful to the most people. I want this to be a fun class. I want this to be a good learning experience. So I did some tweaking. So here we go. This first thing, the individual and family treatment assignment. In general, kind of the goal for this is, as a clinical mental health counselor, oftentimes we do see that one individual in front of us, and we can begin to gain glimpses of the family through our discussions, but oftentimes we stop there. And so what I really want with this assignment is I want you to begin with this one person, but then really begin to understand the whole family historically, like the people who came before them and those who may come after them, whatever is appropriate. We're typically looking for 3 generations in most of systemic interventions. And so originally it was written for this one person, but I broadened it out. I want you to have some fun with this. I want it to be realistic, but fun. So I want you to really learn about a historic person or current person. So if you wanted to do Freud, if you wanted to do Adler or George Washington, I don't know. Some historical figure, nothing too odd. We don't need necessarily, although it may be kind of interesting to do, royalty. That's a different world, but man, they got problems. But think of somebody who you believe has some form of mental illness or mental issues, and and basically tell us about that person. It's a couple hundred pages. I mean, 2 pages, 500 or so, 550 words. And if you are at 549, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. If you're at 700, 800, maybe too far. I've got to read a lot of this. So somewhere around 550 words, a couple pages. And you kind of see the criteria. And I've got a matrix at the end of the syllabus for each one of these assignments. So you kind of know what I'm looking for. But then the part 2 is so the individual, expand it, help me understand the family, again, the 3 generations. And then lastly, write a treatment plan. Now, there's a few different ways of writing a treatment plans. There's some helps and guides in here. And I believe there's already some links embedded into this class. But think in terms of a long-term goal and a short-term goal, and then specific interventions. So, for example, let's say that your main client, your individual, has some form of stress or anxiety, and they live in a very stressful, anxious family. And so individually, we may say, well, let's do some stress management. So my long-term goal is to reduce stress. And then, some of the interventions may be relaxation, coping skills, evaluation of wellness, increased exercise, sleep hygiene, things of that nature, right? Well, with family treatment plans, it's similar, but I want you to understand this within the context of the whole family. Um, so think a little bit more broad and a little bit more systemic as you write this treatment plan. It's a treatment plan. You've got a sample. Again, it's not a fill in the blank. It's just a sample, but it'll help you get started. A genogram, that's a whole thing in and of itself. I'll talk to you and I'll probably do a video briefly going over what a genogram is and how to do it and kind of some of the tricks of the trade of what does it really look like in session. And then if I can get that posted as soon as possible, I will. But I did load the 2 URLs in your week 2. So you've got like an overview of how to do it in genogram symbols. Some people, and please don't. I'm asking you not to like buy an expensive program, download any kind of software or anything of that nature. Sometimes families get big and somewhat complex. So anyway, there's an overview of how to do it, like an introduction. But if you already have access to something, sure. If you want to draw something out, if you draw something out on a sheet of paper, it needs to be neat and legible and it can't be tiny. Like it has to be a usable tool. I mean, this is an assessment, and it is a counseling tool also. So we're talking like use a ruler, draw straight lines. I don't need you out with a protractor or anything of that nature, but um, please do make it legible and make it professional. Professional. So caution, genograms can bring some stuff up. So I wrote a caution in there. It's really interesting. Been teaching for a long time now, and it's always interesting as you begin to ask questions. You know, you go to like maybe your mom or your dad or your brother, sister, or whomever that might be, and you go, "Hey, so what's this relation, and who is this person?" Um, Sometimes it can trigger them too, and it can be an eye-opening experience. And so just be kind, be careful, be kind to those that if you do ask other people questions, and be kind to yourself as you go through this process. Don't disclose anything that you don't want to disclose. This is an exercise to ensure that you know how to do a genogram. This is not therapy. So I do want you to be, again, kind to yourself, kind to the people that you talk to, and only disclose things that you would feel comfortable with. I promise, yeah, I will see them and then they will go away. Um, that's it. Like the exploration paper, again, ask questions, be curious, but again, be kind. Midterm, it's a midterm, 100 points, or 100 multiple choice questions, 100 points, 2 hours, you'll take it through Moodle. And then also the final says that it is not comprehensive, although it builds upon the previous material in the midterm examination. Sometimes if it may seem like it's not, that it is comprehensive, there may be questions in there that could actually be hints to other things. So always, it's a final. All right. The last actual project that you have in this class is the non-clinical couple therapy exercise and reflection paper. This is a skill. Marriage and couple systemic therapies are different. Really trying to manage multiple people in the room simultaneously, ensuring that you're not projecting any kind of allegiance or alignment with one person over another, ensuring that the communication isn't going to you and then from you, but facilitating everyone communicating. It takes some talent and some nuance too. Things like circular questioning, which we'll talk about later. Really important. Find a couple that reports a typical healthy, stable relationship, good communication. What I'm really looking for you to do is engage the couple, whether it's a communication, whether it's some attribute, just increasing, almost like a psycho ed type of session. It is non-clinical though. So you're not fixing anything. You're not, you, you're not, you're just not. I want to see you communicate well, ask great questions, open-ended, circular if possible. I want to see you engaging individuals, helping them engage one another. So talking about communication, talking about some maybe slight issue. And when I say issue or some kind of dynamic, that's really it. That's it. So we're not going to resolve a couple's issues about separation or post-divorce. No, just healthy, stable couple, typical good communication, helping them really just do better. Okay. And then write a couple pages about what that experience was like, and then watch the video back and be critical. Like, I could have reworded this a little differently. I wish I would have said this. I don't know if I really was connecting with both of them the way that I maybe could have. So be critical, but also be kind. I know if you're anything like me, when I've been videotaped, I don't know how many times through different trainings, through school and everything else. There's something about a camera getting turned on that kind of wigs me out. I don't know if it wigs you out. You may be perfectly comfortable in front of a camera. I am not. And so I I have a lot of compassion and a lot of grace for things just getting sideways on video. So please don't feel like you've got to script this. I want this to be natural. I want to see who you are. I want to see who you are as a person and how you're engaging in this. And have a little fun, right? Because this is non-clinical, and then afterwards be critical, like really look at it, think about how you're going to improve, and just write about what that experience was like for you. Yeah. So that's it. There's discussion forums. It's an online class. You've probably done a gazillion of these. I will do my very best to respond to everyone as much as possible. Be curious with them, be professional. Don't just restate what people say. Don't say, wow, that was brilliant. I can't believe you said yada, 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 yada. Well done. Add something to it. Be productive in the communication and in the content. So let's run through. I think that's about it. You've got all the points, the A's, B's, and hopefully no C's. Engage, and I think that's about it. I'm going to scroll down really quickly. Yeah, and then at the end, you have all the grading rubrics. So there you go. You have a syllabus, we have a class, and I'm going to do my best. I'm going to be traveling over the next week or so and doing some work for our accreditor. Whole nother story, but I think that's it. I think if you've got questions, why don't we try Tuesday's Halloween, so we don't want to do that. I've got another meeting on Monday. But if you've got questions still, send them to me. I'll try and answer them as much as possible. Hopefully, as I begin to like do videos for your different weeks, maybe that'll answer some of the questions too. Other than that, I think that's about it. Again, if you ever want to meet, just let me know, and I'm happy to jump on Zoom or take a phone call and talk about whatever issues or questions you may have. And have an absolute wonderful day. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.